Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of the paranormal with 3 true horror stories that you guys sent in.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
So we're going to be looking at a YouTube video from the channel Mr. Nightmare. Have you heard of that channel?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's one of those channels where you kind of like, you watch it with like one eye open,
Yeah.
the lights on.
Yeah, for sure. So we're entering the realm of the unexplained, the spooky, and the downright creepy.
Exactly.
Are you ready to dive in?
I'm ready.
Okay, so our first tale starts with a pretty classic horror setup. We've got a gamer at home alone late at night, absorbed in a Call of Duty session.
Okay, yeah. Isolated and vulnerable. That's always how it starts.
Right, suddenly he gets a call from an unknown number.
Classic.
Right, at first he thinks it's just a wrong number or a telemarketer, but the calls keep coming, back to back to back.
Oh, no.
No one speaks. Just this chilling, hissing sound.
Oh, that's creepy. The unknown caller. It's like such a simple but effective horror trope.
Yeah.
It just plays on our fear of the unseen.
Totally. So he's already kind of creeped out. But then it gets even creepier. He tries to scare the caller away by, yelling into the phone. But instead of hanging up, the caller responds with this, low, disturbing laugh.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's always when it gets real.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't a normal person.
Yeah, it's not a butt dial at that point.
Exactly. He's totally freaked out by now. And so he asks the caller why they keep calling.
Don't do that.
I know, right? And in this deep, almost demonic voice, the caller replies, I'm just waiting for you to come upstairs.
Oh my God, so good. That's so good.
Right.
It's like they take this everyday object, the telephone, and they turn it into a weapon.
It's true.
It's not just like a voice on the other end. It's like a presence in his space,
In his sanctuary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, needless to say, he bolts out of the house immediately, runs to a friend's place, and calls the police. Right. But here's the thing. The police find absolutely nothing.
Wow.
No forced entry, no signs of anyone else being there, except an open back door.
Oh. Okay, so it's like, was it real or was it all in his head?
Right.
Classic horror.
Classic horror ending. It makes you think twice about answering calls from unknown numbers.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think beyond the surface level, this story really plays on our fear of being alone and vulnerable.
Especially in our homes.
Yeah.
In a place that should feel safe and secure.
Yeah,
This story turns that expectation on its head.
totally. And I think this idea of a safe space being violated seems to be like a common thread in a lot of horror stories.
Totally agree. Think about how many horror movies start with a family moving into a new house.
Right.
That disruption of routine, the feeling of being unsettled in a new environment, it's like that makes us vulnerable.
That's a really good point. Okay, so we've got the sudden in-your-face terror down. But let's move on to a different kind of fear, like a creeping unease that slowly builds. Our second story, the godmother's brother. This one highlights the importance of recognizing red flags, both online and off.
Ooh, this is a good one. This one is especially disturbing
Yeah.
because it deals with the potential for evil lurking beneath a seemingly normal facade.
Yeah.
It reminds us that monsters don't always lurk in the shadows. Sometimes they sit right next to us at the dinner table.
Right. So this story starts with a seemingly normal godmother, someone that the listener's family loves, but then there's her brother Terry.
Oh.
He gives off this creepy vibe, avoids eye contact, and doesn't even use his own photo on Facebook.
Okay, those subtle details. It's like little alarm bells going off in our subconscious.
Yeah.
Our instincts are telling us something isn't right.
Yeah. And then there are these weird Facebook messages he sends the listener late at night, a man in his 40s calling them naughty girl, asking why they're up so late.
Oh God, that's so creepy. So inappropriate.
It's like the language is clearly predatory. It reveals a side of him that's hidden from the family,
Right.
a side that operates in the shadows of the internet.
The internet can be such a scary place.
Yeah, for sure. The truly chilling moment comes when the listener checks Terry's Facebook friends list,
Yeah.
and it's full of hundreds of young men, mostly teenagers.
Oh no. That's awful.
I know, right?
So creepy.
It's terrifying. But also a stark reminder that online predators often use seemingly innocent platforms to target their victims.
Exactly.
This story really underscores the importance of online safety and recognizing red flags.
Especially for young people.
I guess also for young people, yeah.
It's a crucial message, especially in today's hyper-connected world. We need to be aware of the potential risks.
Absolutely.
This story serves as a powerful reminder of that.
For sure. Yeah, it's scary how easily someone can hide their true intentions online. This story really makes you think about who you're interacting with.
Yeah, and it's not just about protecting ourselves. We have a responsibility to look out for the vulnerable people in our lives too.
Absolutely. Okay, are you ready for our final tale of terror?
Hit me.
This one is called The Shadow Man. It takes us back to a familiar setting, the listener's home. But as we've seen in these stories, even the most familiar places can hold hidden darkness.
Yeah, it's like that saying, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Right.
The story is all about the unknown lurking just beyond our perception.
I like that. Okay, so it starts on a Friday night. The listener's parents are out of town. They're downstairs in the basement playing video games. Pretty typical scene.
Yeah, I can definitely picture that. We've all been there, lost in a game, oblivious to the world around us.
Exactly. Then they hear their name being called from upstairs. It's a familiar sound, something they've heard countless times before, their parents calling them up for dinner or to help with something.
Right.
So they automatically start heading towards the stairs.
It's like that instinctive response. You don't even think about it.
You're on autopilot. And then halfway up the stairs, it hits them. Oh, wait. My parents aren't home.
Oh, God.
Yeah. They're completely alone. And that voice, it definitely wasn't their mom or dad.
Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
That moment when the familiar becomes unfamiliar, that's pure horror.
Chills. Literal chills. So the voice calls again louder this time. Unfamiliar and urgent. The listener rushes upstairs, heart pounding. But there's no one there.
Oh, no.
And then drawn to the window, they look out at the street.
Okay, so like classic horror movie setup.
Yeah.
Looking out into the darkness, you just know something bad is about to happen.
Right, and standing under the streetlight, illuminating the empty street, is a shadowy figure
Oh my gosh.
standing there.
It's like the lack of detail. The ambiguity of the figure makes it even more terrifying.
Yeah, it's like our imaginations run wild, we fill in the blanks.
Totally.
And as the listener strains to see who or what it is, they realize something even more terrifying. The figure has no shadow.
What? No shadow?
No shadow.
That's terrifying. It's like a glitch in the Matrix or something.
I know, it's like a fundamental law of physics is broken. So creepy. And then as quicker as it appeared, the figure vanishes. The listener, terrified, spends the rest of the night hiding in a closet.
Understandable. I mean, what else are you going to do at that point?
Seriously. I think it's interesting how each of these stories ends with a sense of unresolved fear. It's like we're left wondering, was that voice on the phone real? Is Terry still out there? What was that shadow man and why did it disappear?
It's like they mirror the ambiguity of real-life paranormal experiences, right?
Yeah.
They force us to confront the unknown.
Yeah, and to question our own perceptions.
Exactly. It's like, did they actually experience these events, or were they just imagining things?
That's the question, isn't it? It's the not knowing that keeps us coming back for more.
The mystery, the wonder, the fear.
It's all part of the appeal. Yeah, it's like those stories. They crack open a door in our minds, and we catch a glimpse of something just beyond, our everyday reality.
It's like they challenge our sense of what's possible.
Yeah, and that's what makes them so fascinating, even if it scares us a little.
Exactly. They remind us that our understanding of the world is always evolving. And there's still so much that we don't know.
For sure, it's humbling, but it also opens up all these exciting possibilities. Thinking about these three stories, although they're all different, they seem to share a common thread. This fear of intrusion.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The demonic voice intruding through the phone.
Yeah.
The predator worming his way into the family. The shadow man violating the safety of the home. Each story is about a boundary being crossed, a safe space being violated.
Which makes them even more unsettling, right? Because it suggests that nowhere is truly safe. Even our homes, which should be our sanctuaries, they can be breached.
Exactly, and that taps into a primal fear. The fear of being hunted, of being stalked by some unseen predator.
It's like a fear that's embedded in our DNA.
Right.
A reminder of how vulnerable we are in the face of the unknown.
Absolutely.
So it's like those stories, they're triggering these ancient alarm bells in us.
Even though we're safe and sound in our, modern world.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so besides maybe sleeping with the lights on for a few nights, what can we take away from these tales of terror?
Well, I think, on a practical level, they serve as a reminder to be vigilant, to trust our instincts, and to be aware of those potential dangers that are out there, both online and offline.
Be aware, be safe.
Exactly. But I think more importantly, they encourage us to embrace that mystery of the unknown, to acknowledge that there are still forces at play in the world that we may not fully comprehend.
I like that. It's like they're a reminder that there's still a sense of wonder and awe to be found, even in the face of fear.
Absolutely. And ultimately,
Right now,
it's up to each of us to decide how we interpret these
Yeah.
experiences, how we integrate them into our understanding of the world.
So keep those questions in mind as you venture out into the world. Be curious, be skeptical, but above all, be open to the possibility that there might be more out there than we can see or explain.
And who knows, you might just stumble upon your own tale of terror.
Ooh, spooky. Until next time, fellow explorers, keep diving deep and keep those lights on.